Hi, my name's Thanasi, and I'm the content manager, kind of at this point, pretty much
Therapist.
all in one for Tanner. So I don't think I have one role. But anyways.
He's also my therapist, partially. But he doesn't have to speak back. He just has to listen.
Yeah, I just basically listen. I don't even respond. But I'm going to be asking him a bunch of personal questions. So the first question is, what's the biggest change you've had since about a year ago?
For me, the biggest thing was the mindset stuff, where I didn't realize that I was saying a bunch of negative things to myself. And then it's funny, but as you say those negative things, you create them, if that makes sense, right? So if every day you wake up, you're like, oh, it fucking sucks to be awake, you're automatically creating a shitty day, versus if you wake up like, oh man, so lucky to be alive. And I didn't realize it was that simple, but it starts by the things you say to yourself. And then over time, you can change those thoughts. So for example, around the house, you've seen I call it my document. And so when I say that morning and night, I do notice my life goes better. When I start missing, I immediately notice my life doesn't go as well, because those thoughts are not coming to the top of my mind and those old thoughts replace them. That's probably the biggest thing. And I think it was the most simple thing. And that's why I didn't believe it worked, because it was too simple.
All right. Explain to the people, what is this sheet? Because sometimes I'm more of a spiritual person too. I like meditation and positive affirmations and stuff like that. But sometimes I think, I see clients that you've had in the past that I'm friends with that do like the weirdest shit just to start their day. I'm like, all right, I don't vibe with that, but explain to people so they don't understand.
Yeah,
what
so
are you talking about?
The document's not that crazy. The document starts with basically what you want to become. So one of the things I say in there is I say, I'm the world's best boyfriend. I treat Hansika like a queen, who's my girlfriend. I say, I'm a strong and powerful leader. People like working for me because I put them before myself. And it can be as short as long as you want, but for me, it's about 30 things. And I just still don't have it fully memorized. It takes a while. And then what happened was I memorized it and then I changed it again. But you put things that empower you and then help you become the person you want to become. So for me, what I notice is as I say those things, when I'm in difficult situations with my girlfriend, the thought that comes to my head is I'm the world's best boyfriend. And I immediately de-escalates most of the situations. I still mess up sometimes, but it's way more rare. And I didn't realize in the past, because when she would do something, I'd be like, oh, what the fuck, she doesn't get it. Like just negative talk. And then you start creating that situation. So it really just starts down with writing down. The way I would start it is write down all the things that you don't want to have happen, because that's usually easier. And then you just write the opposite and that becomes your document. So you're like, I don't want to be angry. I don't want to be rude. I don't want to be lazy. I don't want to be fat. I like all that stuff. And then you just write the opposite. And that was really the easiest way for me to start writing it. And then once you start doing it, you can add to it. You can take away. And then when I wake up first thing in the morning, that's what I try to do. Last thing I do before I go to bed is read that. And that really helps, because over time, you just do it over and over. It's like brushing your teeth. It just naturally starts to happen. And that's why you see some people, I didn't know this, but I would see people who someone would smash into their car and they get out and they're like, are you okay? Like my mom does that. What's wrong with her? But it's because they have that disposition. And so when they get in a tough situation, that's what comes to their head, because all of us are reacting. So when I was learning this, I said, okay, but if I think something's stupid, that's how I'm gonna, respond. But for example, if you told yourself that, usually when someone punches you, what's your reaction? Like, yo, what the fuck are you doing, etc. Exactly. But if you tell yourself a different story, then when that happens, that thought comes to your head and you act differently. But that's what has to happen for you to act differently, because we're all reacting. Most of us go through life just reacting. And so what I realized is once I started doing that, instead of reacting, I'd already chosen how I was going to be in that moment. So when the moment arrives, the thought comes to my head and I act in a way that most people are like, yo, how the fuck did you do that? It just sounds too simplistic that I thought it was bullshit. Like I really did. And it really took someone who was older than me, wiser than me, made more money than me. I mean, he makes crazy money just sitting in his house. You remember, I just fly out to his house and talk to him. So I think that's probably the best way I could explain it. Hopefully.
I think, for myself too, the biggest change, it definitely was your mindset as well. Because I remember last year in 2023.
How bad was it?
Your mindset before?
How bad?
No, I don't think it was bad. I think it was just like, I think it was a mix of things. I think there was like stuff, like you had a lot of transitions going through your business. You had stuff you're dealing with your relationship. It was just like a bunch of shit that was going on. And obviously, we were traveling the world. You were having the worst time. I was like, fuck yeah, I love travel. This is amazing.
Yeah, you did love that. You do love travel.
But I think, definitely.
It wasn't even that I was having a bad time. I think it's just that I wasn't working. And you still were. So I think while we were traveling,
I think you were still we were still shooting content and stuff. And
yeah, but it wasn't anywhere near, man.
Yeah,
I mean,
but I think it was the thought process too, bro. Because coming back and like you said, you were speaking to that the guy that you paid that's worth 9 figures.
Steve, yeah.
You changed all the thought, like, because I'm pretty sure you were like reflecting on a lot of negative thoughts, the shit you were dealing with.
No, I mean
right?
he even showed me. But the thing was too, it wasn't conscious. It's not like you wake up and go, oh fuck today, like, you know, I'm gonna, you know. But it just comes to your head. And so when he told me that, I said, how am I supposed to change that? That's just how I feel. Because you choose to. I'm like, okay. Yeah. And then as you say those thoughts, that's how that change happens. But it just seems so dumb and simplistic. But if you think about it, right, what you say becomes your thoughts become your actions become your life. So if you want to, for example, if you say, I want to be a billionaire, if you constantly think that, the goal is not that you just say it, obviously, but it's that you start doing what a billionaire would do. So what would a billionaire do? I mean, most of us can write on paper, like, even if you don't know a billionaire, I know a couple, but like, what would you say on paper? They get up early. They take care of their body. They work out. They work hard. You know what I mean? It's all the bullshit we already know. It's not like, oh my God, what do you think a billionaire does? It's like, oh, he's probably super fucking lazy. He never, you know, combs his hair. Like, we already know those things. And so I think it's the fact that, like, when you start saying that, that's what helps you start taking those actions. And then over time, as you take those actions and you get results, it reinforces those beliefs more. And then you do more of the actions, which gets you more results. You know what I mean? So it just, for me, I didn't realize how negative I had gotten in some areas. I was still I still work hard on all those things. But when I would have an argument or a fight, I'd blame my relationship, or I blame my parents, or I blame, and it wasn't that I wasn't trying to take responsibility. It just was the first thought that came to my head. And I'd realized that I'd built that pattern over time. And a lot of us, I mean, that's how we come in the world as kids, and we're like very innocent. We're, you know, everything's great. And then it's like adults are what ruin kids, if you think about it, right? Like, I just got to spend the weekend with my little niece, and I mean, she thinks everything's great. The adults are like, oh no, you shouldn't do that. Or like, oh, that you didn't do that. And the kids just running around like thinks life's great. So that was, I guess I was interesting to learn.
Who's been your most favorite video guy?
Oh fuck, that's a tough one.
He's behind the cameras, OG guy right here.
Yeah, bro. I didn't even know this guy was fucking coming today. You literally text me, you say, yo, I'm gonna come down to Miami, and then you just show up today. I'm like, what the, bro? You didn't even fucking say you were coming today. What the fuck? Anyways, I know Hansika says she likes you guys the best for sure.
Oh, I love it.
She didn't like one of my other. Well, it wasn't that she didn't like him. She just didn't connect. Yeah, she didn't.
Send this to him.
No, don't fucking send that. No,
this is behind the scenes.
I think, how many have I had? I have 4. I think I've had 4. I can go with like the ones I didn't like the most. But you know.
All right, we got the answer.
Yeah.
Awesome. Love it. So how are you feeling really, like nowadays? Like,
well, I have to see payroll today. So depending on what happens with that, you know, it can vary in terms of the answer. I feel better. I think the thing about feeling better for me, and something that I wanted to talk about today, is it really comes down to being certain what you want to do. I think men are supposed to lead, and I think one of the qualities of a leader is to be certain, or at the very least, meaning like you're certain that you're uncertain, and people know. It's like, look, I don't know what to do. And I think having that surety and certainty builds a lot of confidence, not only in yourself and other people. And so I've really seen that in my life, where when I'm trying to make a very difficult decision and I'm not sure, it really fucks with me. And it's really hard in my relationships too, because especially romantic relationships, because the girls are looking to you to lead. I feel more sure about where I'm going. I feel more comfortable with how I'm acting and, like, I guess, showing up in the world. Even if you have to do something that's really difficult, there's like a better way to do it, if that makes sense.
Do you think there's such a thing as being too comfortable with your partner, that now that you have a partner in your life again?
I've noticed for her specifically that she has certain things she likes. So it could be anything, but I'm just do easy stuff with it. This is not what she likes, but let's say she wants me to go to the gym 3 times a week, or she wants me to take out the trash, or she wants me to, you know, put the toilet seat down, whatever. What I notice is that you could always be like, oh, that's dumb, well, I'm not going to do that. And then what ends up happening is it ends up like hurting the relationship. So I think the key thing I've had to learn is there's certain things I don't care about, and there's certain things I do care about. So I don't think you should give up what you want for someone else, because I don't think that ever ends well, because that's where resentment comes from. I think I did a lot of that in the past, where there'd be something I knew she wanted and I would do it even though I didn't want to do it. For example, if you say take out the trash, like, I don't really care. I'm not going to fight that because I don't care. Like, I don't want to take out the trash, but it's not a big fight. But if it's like, I want kids, and it's like, I don't want kids, I don't think you can compromise on that, because you will get resentful. But I think as long as it's not a big thing, I think the first thing is, like, make sure you guys are going in the direction of the big things. And then the little things, make sure you do that, because what happens is, as you do those things, it creates what you want. So for example, some people will say, I want to feel love. The way you feel love is you create it. Like you give love to someone else. And then as you do that, they feel that, right? And then they push it back into you. It's not usually the other way around, if that makes sense. So whenever you're having problems, people will say, oh, it's their fault. They're not doing this. They're not doing that. What I've seen is that as I've done the things that I know are important to her, the relationship's a million times better. Because what it does for me is like, I might not be in the mood to do it, but I do it anyways. And then it kind of like shows her love, and then she will actually put love back into me, and then we both feel better. And I think especially as the man, that was something I had to learn, where it's not that I didn't want to do it. It's just with business and all these other things, I would just get distracted. I'm like, I don't have time. I'm too tired, this and that. And so I think like anything, yeah, you can get too comfortable. It's like a business, bro. Like you got to grow it every day. You got to get up and work it. And some days are better than others. But like, if you keep doing that, I think that's how relationships last. I think relationships that don't last, at some point, they stop doing that. And it makes sense. If you stop, tending the garden, the weeds are going to overtake it. And that took me a long time to understand. I just didn't understand like how to go about things. And I thought that if I got asked to do something I didn't want to do, it was the wrong girl. But in reality, it's you're the wrong dude. Like you need to become a better dude. I think people are a reflection of ourselves. If you change how you act in a situation, then other people change because of how you acted. Like, so someone screams at you and you're like, yo, I'm so sorry. I didn't see you there. What does it do? They immediately drop, right? And they're like, oh, I'm sorry, dude. I didn't, I just, right? But if you scream, I saw a guy the other day, he's like, you fucking asshole, all this stuff. And then the other guy, if he matches them, what happens? You create. So it's hard. It's not easy to like let someone scream at you and handle it. But what I've noticed is as you can kind of control yourself and create what you want, other people mirror you and they don't even know what's happening. That's the magic. To me, it's actually been the most godlike thing that I've actually learned about. Right? You go to church and all this, they teach you about religion and stuff, but that to me has seemed like the closest thing to like godlike that I've learned about. It's about, because it's creation, right? I try not to go too far off a deep end where people can't understand, but I think for me, it's just been being intentional about what I want. And then as I do that and those thoughts come into my head, I create it. And when I'm in a tough situation, those thoughts come and it just like over and over again, it just helps. And it's the same thing in my fitness. Like one of the things I wrote on there is, I believe that a strong body leads to a strong mind. I believe a strong mind leads to a strong spirit. So it's easy for me when I have the choice recently, especially recently, because like, I'm a fat boy at heart. Doesn't mean I'm never going to have sweets again, but like I'm pretty fucking shredded right now. Like I'm getting pretty close. Like I'm getting pretty close to like very low single digit body fat. Again, it just starts with the thought and then it leads to the action.
What does true love mean to you?
I think it's just finding a woman who's willing to walk in the path I want to walk. And then obviously like I'm being true to myself and being the best I can be. I think in the past it was you find someone and it's like, oh, you love them, so you have to change for them or something. But I don't believe that. I think you're trying to be your best self. And then I think specifically the woman is there to help support the man. I'm not saying you're not supporting her, but like you're on your mission and then she supports the mission. And I think that's when it's epic because you're going this way. She's like there to help and support you. I think that's what men should be doing. I think you should be leading. Figure out what it is you want, be certain where you're going, find a woman who supports that. And if she doesn't support that, it's like, she's not the right girl. I think what a lot of people do is they're like, oh, I really care about you. So like, I got to do this and I got to do that. And that personally has not ever worked for me. And I always get resentful every time I've done it.
What's the best relationship advice you've ever had to date so far?
I don't think it was relationship advice. I think it went back more to the mindset stuff. It's not the other person. The other person is a reflection of you. If you have an issue with them, it's something that's wrong with you. Even a lot of the people you hate, they're very similar to you typically. That's the irony. I mean, it used to piss me off when people would say that. There'd be someone I really didn't like that. Yeah, you're kind of similar to him. I was like, fuck me, But there's some truth in that. So I think if you have an issue with someone, it's a reflection of you. And then that's kind of the wake up call for you to change, or what do you need to do differently to not come off that way?
Is there something that you really crave in a partner or in like people in general? Maybe not just partners, but in people?
Similarities across girls I've dated is they're very happy, super happy. Just
like
very,
golden retriever.
Yeah, like almost over the top where you're like, yo, what the fuck's wrong with you? Yeah, but it's good for me because I'm a little bit more, you could say like realistic, cynical, glass half full. And I know that about myself. So it really helps balance me out because they're just like, yeah, like life's so great. And so if I was with someone who I think had more of my temperament, it wouldn't be a fit. And then I'd say outside of that, they take care of themselves. Like I'm very into fitness. Like it's not a fit for me if they're not. And then they have ambition. Those probably be the top three, but definitely the bubbly part. I mean, it's all important. I'd say those are definitely top 3. It's like ambition, fitness, and they're just happy. That's what makes me attracted to it.
I know you said glass half full, but I don't really see you as a glass half full type of person. But anyway.
Yeah.
No.
That's good. I guess that's good.
But I agree with that.
I mean, I'm just not that happy. So I assume you're glass half full. So I must be half empty. You know what I mean?
I'm definitely glass half full.
You
sure.
are, yeah.
For sure.
Which works well with my personality.
Yeah. I don't see you as a glass half empty or whatever.
Oh, that's good. All right.
What would you do? Which kind of happened, but what would you do if I was dating someone you fucking hated and you always had to spend, like, we'd go out, to dinners and drinks and yachts and whatever.
At the end of the day, like, if that's what you want, it makes you happy, then I'll make the effort. But it wouldn't be my first choice to hang out. So I just think I would do less of it. I'd be like, yeah, like, we're going here. But I try to keep it big groups and stuff like that. So it wouldn't be as much interaction.
Isolated.
Yeah, but I guess it also doesn't bother me as much. It's just more, I think it's more that you're my boy. So... I'm like, yo, she sucks. Like, you should get rid of her. I think it's more of that I think.
That is true, guys.
Yeah.
Tanner has told me she sucks.
Yeah,
Get rid of
probably
her.
too much. Yeah.
Which I think is a good thing, to be honest, instead of like not saying the truth. Sometimes it's good to hear the truth. What's the worst thing I've done and made you lose your shit?
It might be something. It's probably something small where like you miss a video file or we can't find something, or I don't think you've ever done the audio. That usually pisses me off. Audio.
Yeah, so far the audio thing has been good.
Yeah, no, you're pretty good. I mean, I think you're pretty good at doing what you're supposed to do, which is good.
Does it ever get old or stale when random people are like, "Oh my God, you're that ads guy" or whatever, in the in the street or in the gym? Does that get tiring, or how does it feel?
No, I mean, for me, it comes down to more where I'm at in my life. So I think more recently, where I wasn't really happy with like my trajectory, I didn't like it as much. Because like, they're like, oh, you're this guy who does this. And I'm like trying to move into the next thing. Yeah, I don't think it ever gets old. It's nice and it doesn't really bother me that much. I think the only time it could is, if I'm busy or I'm like trying to do something and then it kind of throws me off. And then, you go 30 minutes over. I've had times where like I'm at the gym and I go over and I don't have time to do cardio.
Oh, yeah.
But, stuff like that. But like in the grand scheme, it's not a huge deal.
I remember the time it happened in Puerto Rico when we were living in Isla Verde.
Yeah.
It was like at night too. Like these random guys. Like, what the fuck? Like,
yeah, super
I
random.
don't recognize this.
Yes.
Or in I think Sri Lanka too, maybe.
I think it's Carolina.
Yeah.
Yeah, Carolina, Puerto Rico.
That
The
was
nighttime.
interesting.
Yeah.
What's the weirdest conspiracy theory you've ever believed in?
The craziest one was, this was a guy who I was actually on like this, I don't even know what you would call it, but when we were in bodybuilding, we were like this kind of team, but we weren't like a team.
Okay.
Thinking like a supplement company kind of. All right, so like you have like V-Shred or you have like Shreds at the time. That was actually big. But anyways, he was 19 or 20. And then a few years later, he kind of went off his rocker, at least in my opinion. And he said there was some conspiracy theorists that there was a certain restaurant. I don't remember where it was. I don't know if it was New York or wherever it was, but a certain restaurant where the Clintons were actually like, had like a sex trade or.
Was it a pizza place?
Yes.
Yeah, I've heard of that. Yes.
Yeah, he's the guy who put it on fire and went. Yeah, that's him.
Wait, you know that?
Yeah,
guy?
I know him. Yeah, yeah, that guy. And when I heard this story, and he went to jail and stuff, obviously. And then I saw another video of him like fighting 2 cops at the same time, and I'm thinking, what the fuck? Like even if that's true, bro, I'm like, I'm not fucking going to jail for that shit. That was the craziest one, and I knew the guy personally, so it made it even more crazy. And the funny part is his parents are really wealthy.
Yeah.
And so it was like kind of like, really golden goose parents. Then it's like their son's like a degenerate. When I heard that, I was like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. I know this kid, right? And so it'd be like you hearing me. It's like, yeah, Tanner fucking went to across the street and like shot someone. It's like, what? It was like, it just blew my mind.
Have you ever done anything that's super embarrassing?
Selling feet pictures and doing cam shows with my feet.
How long did you do that for?
I don't know, not that long, but bro, like when you're broke, $100 is $100. You know what I'm saying?
How much money did you make total collected?
Not a lot. I mean, the thing I'm glad I didn't do it is they have that adult website. It's like
Feet Finder?
No.
I don't use it.
I'm not talking about the feet anymore.
Okay.
There was literally, it's like Sean Cody. And I got asked to get on that a few times. Sean Cody, it's an adult website basically where they take super jacked guys and like they do, yeah. And I remember they were like, yeah, we'll give you like $5,000. I'm like, fuck, $5,000. I'm like, holy shit. right? Because I'm making
Yeah.
nothing. I'm so glad I didn't do that because that shit's out there forever.
Oh,
like
yeah.
once it's out there,
Yeah,
it's out there.
yeah.
And so that's probably the most embarrassing thing. At the time, I was like, who gives a shit? It's my feet. That's how I still feel about it. I was like, it's your feet. So what? I just don't know like what it is about looking at someone if they like think you look good but how do you know my feet look good?
Yeah.
I never understood it. But it's like if you look good, like, I want to see those feet. Right. I mean, whatever, floats your boat. So that was always pretty weird for me.
I don't get the feet fetish thing.
I don't either.
Shout out to all the people that do like feet. It's fine if you do it.
I still sell those pics if you want any.
I think we could make money if we actually started an account, some kind of OF.
I mean, they do have that thing like Feet Finder. That's a real thing now.
Yeah, there is.
I mean, bro, and that's the best because like it's just your feet. I mean,
I saw recently a post of some OnlyFans girl. She showed her account like in the last 3 years of how much money she made. And it was like something like 52, something ridiculous, like 52 million or 50, like it was something absurd.
is it the Cash Me Outside girl?
No, I don't know who it was. I can't remember the name, but I remember seeing an article link and she took a screenshot of her account like over the past, I think it was like 3 years on OnlyFans. And it was like something like 50 something million, like net. And I was like, fuck me.
I know I'm in the wrong business,
Yeah,
bro.
clearly.
I always think that.
Well, you have that Sean Cody thing. Maybe that could work out.
yeah.
You're getting pretty jacked now, so.
No, it's not enough. It's honestly not enough. I mean, $5,000, like no way. It's nothing. No.
But when you're broke,
when you're broke, it's a lot. Yeah.
I'm glad you didn't do that because maybe you wouldn't have ended up where you're at now.
Definitely, dude. If OnlyFans was out, then that's the thing. I feel like I would have been on that shit. Honestly.
What's one of your darkest memories?
Darkest?
Yeah, like
in any specific
in life, like dark, like something you're like, fuck, I would never.
I think the relationship stuff was really hard for me. We just didn't agree on big life stuff. That was really hard. I didn't know what to do, and it still is hard. I mean, like the thing is, like when you don't confront a decision and it just sits there, it doesn't get easier. You're just delaying the decision. Outside of that, when I couldn't play football anymore, so I'd given my whole life to go to the NFL, and like I knew it wasn't gonna happen. That was pretty dark. When I dropped out of school and I didn't make money for 3 years, that was pretty dark. Most of my darkest times, ironically, was like 18, 22, 25, 28. Like it was all really in my 20s. I feel, I think the thing I did is you can either have fun in your 20s and then you kind of live life more in your 30s, or you have fun in your 20s and you do it vice versa. The way I did, I think is the best way to do it. Because not only as you learn those lessons and you build something, as you get older, like that's what most women are looking for anyway. So it just kind of, to me, like makes more sense to live life that way. I wasn't really thinking about girls at the time. I was just like, yo, I'm broke as fuck. I got to figure this shit out. It's all hindsight. I think in hindsight, you're always grateful for those things, but when you're going through them, it really sucks for sure.
Yeah, that's a lot of dark memories in such a short, well, I shouldn't say short amount of time, but it seems like it, especially when you're still developing and experiencing life. Do you want kids?
I don't know, bro. Like right now, I don't. I'm open to it. I'm not like I don't want kids, but it's a commitment, and I don't mind the commitment if I'm ready for it. But it's a commitment, and so I don't think jumping into a commitment you're not ready for is the right answer. As of now, I have no desire because I want to keep growing and building businesses and pushing myself. And that's going to take away from that, and I'm cool with that. I think knowing where you want to go and what you want is super important. In the past, like I would get guilt tripped or shamed, or I'd feel bad. I'm like, oh, what the fuck's wrong with me? I don't want kids and stuff. And I've gotten past that where I'm like, yo, if I don't want fucking kids, like I don't need to have kids right now. I'm not wrong for that. Or if I want to live my life this way and you don't agree, that's fine. Like I think getting comfortable with that can be difficult, but you can't be making decisions for other people because it's your life.
I don't think people should look at it in such a bad way because you don't want kids now. You know what I mean? Like, unless, you're with a partner who wants kids and then you actually don't want kids, then I can see that as an issue. But like, at the end of the day, I guess you shouldn't really give a shit about other people, what they think to a certain degree.
I mean, the thing is, even when someone gives you advice, the problem is it won't convince you because it's not your idea, it's their idea.
Yeah.
It's the same reason whenever relationships is a great one. Whenever you're in the relationship and people give you advice and you can't hear it, it's because it's not your idea. And so no matter what they say, you're like, oh, they don't get it. They're not in it. They don't understand so it's pointless. So what I've learned is instead of continuing to ask for advice, you got to fucking figure it out on your own. And it's funny because every time I go down this rabbit hole of like religion or relationships and I'm like, oh, what's the right answer? What's the best way to live? How do you date? Like, do you get married? Do you have kids? It's like, there is no right answer. So then it's like, okay, well, if there's no fucking right answer, then you have to be content with where you're at. You shouldn't have a bad breakup. The reason people have bad breakups is they're not honest with each other. But if you are treating someone in integrity and you're just like, hey, I'm not there yet, and they're doing the same way, that's what an amicable split is. It's like, we don't want the same things. The end. There's nothing wrong with that. I just think in the past, I would get forced into stuff, not like forced, like I would feel pressured into it, and I'd be like, what's wrong with me? Why don't I want the same things? And that's just it's not the right way to go about it.
What about marriage? Do you want to get married?
I don't mind getting married. I don't really care. And the reason I don't care is I'm not super religious, so I don't feel there's a point. And you basically are signing up to give half your stuff away. Now, you can get a prenup, and I will get a prenup 100%. I'm 100% getting a prenup. I don't care what anyone says. But the thing is, like, what's the point of getting married? Like, in today's society, you get a piece of paper that says you're married, and then all that really means is if you get divorced, you give 50% of your stuff away, unless you have a prenup. And you got to make sure you do the prenup right? It's just a piece of paper. I think the intention is, like, what's your intention? Like, if someone lives with someone for 50 years and they don't have a signed piece of paper, and you never knew, right? Like, no one even has to know. You realize that, right? Like, you can tell someone you're married, but you never signed it, and people will just be, oh yeah, you're married. Yeah. It's the same shit. So I just think for me, because I'm a logical person, I don't really care. I think for most women, it's emotional, and they're like, oh, I think they have their wedding day dream and all that stuff. So I'm open to do it if it's with the girl I love, but I don't give a shit at all. And I'm definitely doing a prenup. If they won't do a prenup, like, I'm 100% out, because to me, I have nothing to gain and everything to lose.
Yeah.
So it's like, why would I do that?
Yeah, I agree, and I also think it's like part of it is like more symbolism for like women, like especially like
they feel secure. They're like, oh, he actually like did the paper and he did the wedding, and it's like, but you could do the wedding and all that without the piece of paper. But to that point, I get it. So I'm like, look, I talked to a bunch of lawyers, and that was a big thing. I was like, do prenups work? And I talked to enough, and I believe they do if they're done correctly. So I was like, that's enough. But if they said, no, dude, like super high risk, you could lose and all this other stuff, I'm like, fuck that. I'm not doing it. And there's girls out there who are fine with it. It goes back to the same thing. Like, you got to be comfortable with what it is you want, and then you just find someone who aligns with that. If they don't align, move on. That's it. I had a hard time getting to that because there's some things that I either do in my life already or I've thought about doing that I think are a little more abnormal. But it's like, that's kind of how I've gotten to where I'm at too. So I just think you got to be comfortable with what it is you want, and then be okay with the outcome and not be afraid. Because like, if you're making decisions based out of fear, I think those are bad decisions. It can be scary to make a decision, but it should be the decision you want, right? It shouldn't be, I'm scared to do this because I'm going to lose something. It should be more fear of like, fuck, I don't know if this is going to work, but I'm going to go for it. That's the way you should live your life. It shouldn't be because of loss.
Yeah, that's a hard thing too. And it's like, I guess also looking at your partner and being like, okay, I'm like, we're both agreeing to build a life together.
Yeah,
and like trust each other.
or when you're telling them something they're not gonna like, bro. That's actually like I've been in that. I mean,
for sure.
Telling someone something they're not gonna want to hear is hard, but I think it's the right thing to do. Because at the end of the day, it's like you have to. If you tell them what they want to hear and you don't want to do it, you'll resent them, and then what you are afraid is gonna happen will happen fucking anyways. And it took me a long time to get that. You're just kicking the can down the road. It's better to just like, this is what I want. You don't want that. Cool. Bye. Leave. That's it. And just do it in a nice, amicable way. When people fight, it's because they're being dishonest. Like, you said you would do this, but you didn't do it. And then like what you did hurts the girl, and the girl gets mad, and then she screams, and it's all that bullshit. So it's just do what you say you're going to do. If you can't do it, move on.
Would you accept a sugar mama? Like, say if you were single, would you accept a sugar mama in your life? Like, I mean, okay, right now, like you've done over 100 million sales. But you meet a woman, she's like a billionaire.
Only if I liked her.
Yeah.
Only if I liked her. Yeah, not like if I couldn't, like, if she, like physically, if it was just a no, I'm like, nah. But if she was dope, and I'm like, I mean, if she like led with that, so it wouldn't be like it'd be one of those things where like she wouldn't have to lead with that. But if she did, I'm like, all right, yeah, fuck it. Like, I'll do it. Yeah, for sure. Like, what's my commitment, But I'd have to be into it. I'm not into it. Like, no way. But yeah, I'm like, if someone's rich and they want to give me money and like they lead with that, like if it's like, hi, my name's, Thanasi, I want to give you, I'm like, all right, I'll say a girl here, but yeah, I mean, why not? I mean, kind of cool story.
She pays for all your dinners.
Yeah, but if it was literally just because I needed cash, like absolutely no way, no.
What is one of your most fondest memories that we've had together so far?
One of the best memories to this day was the New Year's one. Remember when I bought the table for 25 racks, which was absurd?
Oh yeah,
and we did.
That was fun.
Dude, that was sick, right? We had the best table in the whole place, and we were like, yeah. So that was Marshmallow and
Khalid,
yeah. and then Cleve was sitting on my girl. Yeah, but that was a cool moment, and it was just because like everyone was there together, and it was like such a cool experience. I think it was like the whole thing.
Yeah, that was.
It was super sick. Yeah.
Which life event do you think has shaped you the most?
Where my parents made me break. I mean, there's a few pivotal ones. Like, so I don't know which one's the most because they all played a part. But when my parents made me break up with my girlfriend for no reason, that was super pivotal. When football ended, that was pivotal. When I started an online business with my mentor, that was pivotal. The relationship issues I've had, those have been pivotal because it's helped me learn a lot. And I needed to learn. So I'd say those are the top 4. If I had to pick one, I mean, probably starting my business out of all of them, right? But
so meeting David Fry?
Yeah, probably, because that's been the most impactful to my life. But those 4 have probably been the biggest for sure.
I think that's pretty much it on weird questions.